What's up, everybody? It is Logan Hall here with Logan Hall's Grill Streams. I'm back for another rainy day grill stream. Unfortunately, it's not the best weather right now. Although I am happy that that the weather's cooler now, right? Um, you know, part of the reason why you didn't see me all that much during the summer months, it was too damn hot, guys. Way too hot. Um, and I don't want to be like sweating my balls off here, right? So anyway, the weather's nicer from a temperature perspective now, but then but again, maybe just a little bit wet today. But anyway, today what we're doing is Jamaican jerk chicken, as well as some rice and peas. I'll explain that in a moment. Um, as well as some fried plantains. Um, if you've never seen a plantain before, guys, don't get too excited. But this is what a plantain looks like. It's slightly larger than a banana, and again, just a different form of a banana. I guess more sort of commonly grown, sort of in like South America and things like that. But anyway, we are doing Jamaican jerk chicken. So with that, I'd like to show you guys what we have going on here. Did they make this easier? Back to what? Okay. So this is the chicken in question here. This chicken is actually, it's like a whole chicken. Normally you might see this done with like chicken like quarters or thighs or drumettes or whatever. But let me walk you through the sort of the process that I did to get the chicken to its current state. So yesterday, I did I started with a wet brine. A wet brine is literally just taking water. You could even use chicken stock too if you want, but I think that's a little bit excessive. What I did was I took some water. I took ginger root, scallions, garlic, allspice berries, black pepper, salt, sugar, um, a few again, like it was like a list of like 10 or 15 different things. But anyway, I put all that into a bucket, sort of a brining bucket, not just like your typical, again, run of the mill everyday bucket, but I put that in a brining bucket, and I left it there for about 6 to 8 hours, I would say. And then late last night, I put this dry brine on, and the rub, or not rub, but I guess the spices obviously consist of a lot of Jamaican spices. There's a bit of nutmeg, there's a bit of cinnamon in there, um, allspice, a bit of paprika, salt, garlic, pepper. Again, I'm missing some things here, but again, that is what it went through up to this point, and it sat in my fridge for um I don't know, up until maybe just about an hour ago. I mean, like I pulled it out about an hour ago. Um, you might be thinking, Logan, leaving leaving this out, for like an hour. Oh my gosh, what do you do? No, no. I mean, chicken can technically be out of the fridge for up to 2 hours before it starts to get into the sketchy zone. Um, but anyway, so I have uh, prepped the chicken to that point. I did a bit of a sort of wet rub underneath the skin, but also did a sort of dry seasoning on top, again on top of the skin too. The method of cooking today is the Kamado Joe, of course. We're actually losing a bit of heat here. I want this to be closer to about 350. So I'm going to open up the vents here just a little bit more to introduce a bit more air. But today we'll be using my Joe Tisserie. There it is, Joe Tisserie. Um, so let's take a look at what we have going on here. Most of the coals are banked to the back side of it, right? Because the idea is we're going to take this rod, sort of the spit, we're going to lay it across here. And I really just want the heat focused on one side of the grill. The reason why I'm doing that is I don't want it to be consumed by the heat all the time. I want it to get a quick blast of heat. And then after that, I want it to kind of cool down a little bit on the other side that's maybe not as populated with hot coals. Um, and let it kind of cool down for a second, right? But anyway, so that's the method of cooking today. Again, I'm going to give this just another minute or two just to get back up to temperature. When I open it, of course, it's going to get all this heat out, right? And so we're going to give it a minute to get it back up, and around 350 is what we're targeting today. Let's look in the chat and see who we have. Of course, StreamYard makes it very easy to read these. Can you hear me? Um, Shout out to Andy Benz. Vimal, welcome, buddy. Thank you for being here and supporting the channel. We have John D. Me come for the jerk Chico on the Rasta, man. Hey, you are in the right mindset, John D. Thank you. Jin G's here. Jin G says, "You gonna make ox?" That is actually a great idea. You know what? Maybe for a future stream, I'll do that, Jin G. But um, but anyway, so what we'll do? Let me see where it's. Yeah, we're just about 300. So I'm going to let this kind of stable out to about 350, and then we'll put the bird on. I can expect this to take about like 60 to 90 minutes probably. So like this, yeah. So this isn't going to be a 14-hour cilantro chopping stream. This is going to be uh I don't know, maybe like 2 hours max, maybe. So buckle in. Obviously a lot of you are watching football right now. That's totally cool too. I have given up on my team. I'm a Titans fan. I want to say we're like 1-6 for the year. So not much better than Buckley's Giants and or New York Jets. So uh anyway, there's really not much to root for and or watch as far as football goes. Um, but anyway, I am spending my day out here cooking some chicken. I'm jerking some meat for you guys today. Get your lotion, get your tissues, because this is going to be a wet ride. All right. Um, but anyway, we have the original OC. You have 20 plus people watching from the original OC channel. Hey, thank you, OC. OC's a great guy, really good supporter of all things watch community, and just an overall really nice guy. He's got a great collection, great sense of humor. And people love to, pick a bone with him, man. I mean, he is very controversial, but guys, there's no reason to be afraid of OC. Look, he only bites low IQ trolls. Okay, and if you happen to be a low IQ troll, you know your place. All right. Um, but anyway, thank you, OC. Appreciate that. I'm gonna check the temperature one more time. Hey, we are right where we need to be. So what I'll do, this is gonna be kind of challenging. Hold on, let me do this. I'm gonna put the chicken right about here, and my plantains are falling off. Oops. Let me get my hot gloves. Safety first, guys. Safety first. And what I'll do is put these guys on. Let's close the vent up just a little bit. We'll put that at about an inch or so. We'll put that about a finger's width inside. So just to give you guys a little bit more. Oh fuck! I gotta turn the man right after I put my fucking gloves on. Um, so here's how that's looking. That might actually be just a little too hot for me. So I might just leave this open for a second. But um, anyway, let me let me position this in such a way where. Oh wait, you can. Let me flip this back around. Sorry, I'll let you guys. Man, I think this is slightly blocking the camera here. Amateur hour, guys. Amateur hour. How about that? I think that's better. Yeah. All right. So now that we have this open, so one thing I have to do with this cook is I have to kind of position the bird closer to this rod, whereas there's a lot more on this end. The reason being is it hangs over quite a bit. Um, okay, and away we go. So let's check this up. Let's check this out, guys. We have the nice fire going here, and our bird is now rotating. Um, so we'll give this again. It's going to be 60 to 90 minutes until this bird is fully cooked. But I do have a probe in there. I don't know if you can see that. But I'm going to set up a cook in my meter app, and this guy's just going to spin for a little bit. Um, so again, our heat went down just because we opened it up, but not to fear. With air comes combustion. So we'll give that a little bit to cook. Again, I'll be kind of watching this, as we go here, just to make sure it's not like burning. I am a little bit concerned about like again, sort of the direct heat. There's like the actual sort of flame. It should really be a little bit softer and really just more of the coals, right? Um, but let's see who we have. John D. Yeah, Logan, the Titans are in the toilet. Like two of the three New Jersey teams, Jets 0-7, Giants 2-6. Yeah, guys, it's a disaster, guys. A complete and utter disaster. Um, Something else you have to watch out for when you do this stuff is, or at least when you're on a spit like this, you have to make sure the actual truss rods, or like the butcher twine, doesn't actually burn off. And then you've got like fucking wings flipping around. You've got legs flipping around, man. Dude, it sounds like my bedroom on like a Saturday night. No, no, but anyway, John, totally get you, man. It's it's not a really all that great year for sort of the Northeast fans, Nashville fans, exactly. Sorry, my phone is freaking out because okay, okay. I think that's better. Whoops. Oh, whoops. Sorry about that, guys. I accidentally pressed the power button for two. Like, well, I mean, again, I didn't, but like sort of the mount did, and it was going into sort of like the SOS mode a little bit there. So we don't want that. Let me check on this just real quick, just to make sure we're not burning. Yeah, that's actually looking all right here. Um, so we'll let that keep going here for a while, but while we let the bird cook, we're going to be cooking a few other things. Well, maybe a couple more things if you want to get technical, but um, basically, uh, the Jamaican culture and like Jamaican food is really big on sort of rice and beans, whether that be a product of sort of the socioeconomics of the environment or whatever. But again, rice and beans are always great, man. If you're living in a tough time or a great time, there's always a place for rice and beans. Um, so now again, I said rice and beans, right? Um, and that's pretty much what everybody calls them, right? Rice and beans. But you'll notice in the title I said rice and peas. Peas, Logan. What are you talking about? Peas. No, no, no. It's beans, man. Um, so let me kind of give you guys a history lesson that I just learned on ChatGPT about 5 minutes ago. Um, Basically, the reason why the Jamaican people call it rice and peas is because in Old English, basically the word for any kind of legume or bean or whatever was spelled Pease, peas. Um, Now, obviously, English culture, sort of, I guess, future English culture, eventually associated PEAS with sort of the little green peas, right? But then I think, again, Jamaica was kind of, like they had sort of a relationship with the English for like a while, right? And so I think because PEASE was sort of the word for beans back then, they just stuck with it. So if you ever go to Jamaica and you ask for rice and beans, they might look at you a little bit weird, or they might laugh, they might smirk. Um, but you would technically ask for rice and peas. Anyway, so that's my fairly butchered history lesson for today. Um, but anyway, what we'll do now is I want to start up my uh, cook my sort of stove top over here. It's a induction top, and what I'll do, I will flip the camera. Actually, yeah, that's fine. I think that'll be perfect. Um, so we have some olive oil over here, and let's take a look. Yeah, let's actually start with a slightly low. I didn't bring an actual sort of wooden stick in this one. And I just want to quickly check on the chicken. Chicken looks fine. Those flames have died down, which I'm actually pretty happy about. I didn't want it to be like lipping up on the chicken and causing some problems. But anyway, so so let me go in. I'm going to get a just a wooden sort of spatula. You know what I might also do? I might actually grab a bit of Jamaican rum, just for fun, right? So, guys, give me 2 seconds here, and I will be. You have a knife. I have the wooden spatula. I also need to get some butter too. But let me go fix a drink real quick. Give me 30 to 40. Alrighty, guys, I am back. Don't be alarmed at the sound. That's all very normal. Things are great. Let's slap down some olive oil. Or sorry, this is avocado oil. And why is it fucking? I don't know. Sometimes it gets a little unhappy. But let's go ahead and add a bit of butter. Now, this recipe calls for red kidney beans. So, what I have are, in fact, some red kidney beans. Now you might be thinking, Logan, surely you bought them dry and you hydrated them overnight, right? Well, no, these are actually canned beans. Shame on me, right? Um, let's see. Oh, we got some more comments here. Uh, oh, you know what? Maybe it's the outlet. Chicken's already looking great. Um, anyway, we do have some more comments here. We have MD Chaz. MD Chaz asks, "Hey Logan, what fuel are you using?" I am using charcoal. I'm using lump charcoal for said chicken, so it's back there. I also added in a bit of applewood and hickory for this bird here. So that's how the bird is looking. It's already looking pretty great, honestly. But obviously, it needs to cook way more. It's probably very um, raw in there right now. I'm sorry, we are working in close quarters today. I had to move the grill over because I could not locate my uh, extension cord for this cook, and that's what I normally use when I'm in doing sort of anything in Joe's history because there's a motor attached to this, right? Um, so that's something that like you do have to look out for. Okay, so let's just situate these oil and the butter. And let's go ahead and add the beans in. So those are going to get sort of, a bit crispy first. Sorry, I was just checking a few comments. So one thing we should do here. So these beans are getting nice and crispy. I'm going to drop this down just for 2 seconds here. How about we get a bit of garlic in this situation? And I didn't bring garlic. Let me grab some garlic with this. Sorry about that. Okay. So I have a few garlic cloves here. I'm mostly just going to focus on the larger ones. I'm thinking about 3 cloves will be fine. Now I'm gonna chop up these 3 cloves, just roughly. I mean, it doesn't have to be a super incredibly fine thing. Um, you know, again, I would move the camera, but we're kind of working in a bit of tight quarters here, and it's not all that cleaned up on this side. But, and sorry, the camera might shake just a little bit. But again, you peel off the papery husk or skin. You know, again, like an easy way to do that is just kind of smash your sort of the flat side of your knife against the garlic on the table or cutting board. And that results in a pretty easy way to get the paper part off. So I'm just going to roughly chop these, and you guys are going to be bouncing around a lot. So let me do this. I'm going to reposition you guys. Let's see. And I can actually bump this up a little bit here. Yeah, that's better. All right. So there's that going on. Now it won't be as bouncy. But right now I'm just getting some garlic chopped up. So guys, tell me in the chat, have you guys ever made jerk chicken? Have you ever eaten it? Well, okay. Okay, we're gonna start with have you ever eaten it before, first off? If you have, great. If not, why? Are you not near some authentic Jamaican food, some soul food, right? And if you're not, that's okay. I totally get it. But you got to find something. It's good quality food. Okay, garlic going in. Again, it doesn't have to be super fine. But we're going to make sure that the garlic is nice and fragrant. Now, I have a little bit of leftover sort of jerk rub. You can check the dry stuff, right? So again, this consisted of some salt, some pepper, a bit of nutmeg, a bit of cinnamon, um, allspice. Again, just sort of a smorgasbord of spices. And crank this heat up a little bit. And something else I also used in the wet rub was this sort of Walker's Wood jerk season. Um, Now this is not. Hold on, my. Ooh, that's all right. All right, I'm going to open this up a little bit here and let it cool down a little bit. Um, so the skin is starting to get pretty nice and toasty here. Um, so again, I think going forward, I may not focus so much on the actual like temperature, so to speak, but I just want to sort of maintain a certain color. All right. All right. So the garlic is nice and fragrant now. What I'll do now is introduce another key part of the rice and peas equation here is coconut milk, accompanied by a bit of water too. So we want to break up any of those chunks of the coconut in here. So now the flavors are kind of melding a bit. Something I don't have out here is actually some salt. I'm going to grab a bit of salt. And something I'm going to do, I'm going to close the bottom hatch there. But again, this is how it's looking right now. Again, a bit of definitely we have some flare ups there. We have some flames going on. I don't want to lose this skin necessarily, right? Like so, some of it has already come off. Um, so again, I'm just going to keep this open for just a little bit until the flames die down, and then we'll close it back up. But let's get back to the rice and peas action here. So we have this on a low simmer. Now we don't want this liquid to dissolve too much necessarily, because we will be using that to cook the actual rice as well. But one other thing, I'll just have to get in there with my hand. I'm going to add a bit of the seasonings, so like the wet stuff, to this as well. And I think that's going to add a really nice flavorful element. Again, I'm doing this after I put the liquid in because it breaks up a little bit more easily in the water, or sort of the liquid rather. So that's nicely broken up now. What we can do now is add in the rice. Now, could I have toasted the rice too? Sure, but it's not all. Now this rice has been cleansed, drained of its sin. We're gonna let this kind of slowly come up to a simmer here. Something else we're gonna add to this is some thyme. Fresh thyme, guys. Don't be using none of that pre-chopped shit, okay? Something else we'll do is we'll add in a couple peppers here. What peppers, you ask? So really, you need to be using Scotch bonnet peppers for this effort. Um, now I do. Sorry, let me put the temperature down just a little bit. I do have uh, some habaneros here, and they're sort of in the Scotch bonnet family, but more traditionally, you would use sort of the red ones, right? But I don't have the red ones handy at any of my local groceries. Something else that goes well here are some green onions. Now, no, we're not actually going to be like eating green onions. This is all more just for flavor, right? It's all about flavor. Something else I'm going to add in here just to add a bit more depth are a few pieces of ginger. Again, later on we're going to be, fishing all this out, right? But for the meantime, while this kind of simmers and cooks, we will be letting all this meld nicely here. And one last thing we'll do. We'll add in a bit of lime juice to the equation. All right. So I think our rice and peas are getting to a point where they can be kind of left alone for a minute. I'm just going to do one more stirring motion. And to help create more of an oven-like texture here, we will close this. And I'll probably keep that on 2, honestly. Let's get back to the drink aspect of this, guys. So earlier I mentioned I was going for some Jamaican rum, right? Sorry, those flames are shooting up again. I think part of it is just because there's a lot of moisture in the chicken. Again, I did a wet brine, right? So it's plump and it's full of liquid. And as the liquid, well, really more the fat, when the fat renders and it drips down onto the coals, obviously the coals will light up and cause a bit of commotion. Um, but that's okay. Again, I think I'm now okay. So one of my fears has just started to happen here. The trussing sort of butcher's twine. It looks like it has come undone for one of the halves, um, but it's honestly not too big of a deal because when it becomes a concern, it's more about like, are these pieces actually going to like fall in or whatever, right? Um, the pieces that are hanging off, and I don't think they will. But something that I want to do real quick, I'm going to set up my app. So I have a Bluetooth probe inside there currently, and I'm going to set that cook up on my phone real quick before we move to the next piece. Yeah, so my probe actually says the ambient temperature is actually already 350, about 345. Um, so I'm going to set the temperature to 160. I don't know what that is in British or Celsius or whatever. Um, so tickers, man, if you're watching, you're just going to have to do the conversion yourself. Um, I mean, it was funny. Tickers was here in Nash Vegas. Uh, I guess it was last weekend, and and he was just giving me the temperature sort of in Celsius, and I'm like, man, we're here in the States, man. You got to use Fahrenheit here. But anyway, um, let's shift over this direction here. I got to make sure you guys have a good view here. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Um, so yeah, so we'll let the chicken just kind of hang out here. Um, yeah, right now it says ambient temperature is about 359, 358, 357. Again, we want it to kind of stable uh, around 350. But to accompany us today, I also have some Jamaican sort of brown rum here. This is Hamilton. Again, this isn't like the most top dollar ever, rum here necessarily, but I have sort of a spherical uh, ice cube here, and I figured this is a good opportunity to have some rum. There we go, baby. Doesn't that look nice? Woo. You know what? I might just do a nice little garnish on that real quick. Bit of lime juice. Let's actually cut this down the middle. Actually, let's use this one. Look at that. So that is our alcoholic um, element of this. You know what? I could have used a little bit of rum maybe in the rice and peas, but that's all right. No worries. So let me actually check the rice and peas. I don't want them to. Yeah, man, they're starting to look pretty good actually. You know, and it's starting to stick a little bit here. So I'm glad that I looked at this when I did. I'm actually going to bring that down to one, and I'm going to add just a little bit more water to this so that we don't get any future sticking. But we now move on to sort of the third piece of this equation today. Again, this is a plantain. Um, there's also bananas and everything too, but plantains are a bit larger. And I think it really just boils down to where they are grown. I mean, they're all part of the overall, you know, family of bananas, right? Um, but ultimately, I think it's really just more just where it's grown. I think they do have a slightly different texture and taste too. But what we'll do is I'll just kind of do that motion, open it up a bit. Actually, sorry, I need to do that a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not as easy as it would be for a banana, but then you get into the crease there. Then you're just basically able to open it up like a book. Yeah, man, it really clings to it. Wow, it's like glued on almost. Yeah, yeah, these guys are definitely more rigid for sure. Just checking in on my chicken there. Again, it still looks fine, but according to my app here, we have about 22 minutes left, apparently. Um, so let me make sure that you guys have a good angle here. Yeah. Um, so for the plantain, we're going to be kind of cutting this at an angle. So that'll be the sacrificial piece. But we'll do about a half inch. You can try to maintain that angle as best as you can. If you're cooking along at home, which I doubt anybody is, but that's all right. So we have those plantains. I'm going to cut one more open. And what I plan on doing is the rice and peas will probably be done not too long from now. So we're going to swap out pans. I have a cast iron uh, pan over here as well. And what we'll do is, yeah, that's still going pretty well here. But let's go a little bit deeper down this time. And I think it should be a bit easier to dig into this. Yeah, much easier that time. I'm a I'm a pro at these at these plantains now. Let's get rid of some of the garbage. That's the sacrificial piece to the plantain gods. Okie doke. Here are all our plantains. I probably need a quick little plate to put this on. Before I go get that, let's check on our rice and peas here. These guys are looking great. Yeah, probably just a few more minutes on this. So we'll leave that covered. And yeah, let me get a plate real quick, and then we'll put those plantains on there. I might bring a bit of salt too, so I'll go grab that. Just a bit of salt on those guys. Again, we're working with limited space here. But thankfully, the flames have calmed down just a little bit here. I might close that up just a little bit more, let the heat get back up just a bit. But yeah, let's get a quick look at that actually, because you guys are starved for content. So again, we are developing a lot of nice color here. I think if I had let it um, sort of close the whole time, we would be looking at a very, very black chicken. But I think what we have right now is, it's nice and golden. It's sort of a, sort of a Yogan, like it's definitely developed a lot of deep flavor here. But I'm just gonna leave that partially closed. And yeah, so we're at about 115 internal right now. We do want to get up to really, about about 160 in the breast, and then maybe like 175 ish in the sort of the dark meat, like thigh areas. So the salt is going to kind of help draw out some of the moisture in these guys. Because when you're frying, Yogan, water is going to be your enemy. So it's not necessarily about seasoning, but it's basically trying to draw out that moisture and like that water. I mean, obviously we're not going to get all of it out, right? But I think the better you can position yourself when it comes to fry time, the better. This one's really stuck. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it kind of broke up a little bit actually. All right, these are our plantains that we will fry. I also brought out like a plating plate, uh, just something nice to put everything on once it's done. And what we'll do, let me check on. Actually, let's take a sip first. Cheers. Got some good stuff, man. Let's open that back up just a little bit. So I'm going to give you guys a look at how the rice is coming along. So I think it's pretty much there. I'm gonna get just some baby tongs and put that like Yogan all the thyme, all the peppers and everything here. I'm gonna put that off to the side so that we're just left with the rice and beans or the rice and peas. So I'll be right back. Okay. So I think the rice is pretty much there. So these are called chef's tweezers. So you might see these in sort of like high end restaurants from the chefs because when they're doing the plating, sometimes there's like these small little, microgreens and all that jazz that gets put on at the very end. And it kind of stays under a heat lamp. Or, I mean, if it's a really good restaurant, if there's almost no heat lamp, you just, right when the chef is done doing the final inspection, the plating and all that, it just goes straight to the customer. Um, but this is also a bit more sanitary than me just, sticking my grubby little fingers in here trying to get all this out. Guys, let me know in the chat. Again, have you ever had jerk chicken before? If so, did you just get it from one of those soul food restaurants or did you make it yourself? If you made it yourself, tell me about that experience. Now, if I had asked if anybody has ever jerked their meat, everybody would be raising their hand right now. Don't act like you haven't. Yeah, I would say, oh, you know what? There's a little bit of ginger left. A bit more of the time. Now, if a little bit of time stays in, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. You're just going to get a big hit of it. There it goes. All right. I think this rice is on the verge of getting dry, and I certainly don't want that to happen. So I'm going to pull off the rice and peas. Oh, gosh, there's just so many pieces of time. There's no shortage of time here, guys. Well, speaking of time, I haven't even done a watch check for today. I'm wearing the sub. Submariner always goes great with rice and peas and any Jamaican food. All right. I deem actually let's taste it first. Hold on. Mm, that's excellent. Bit more of the chime. There's definitely a depth to it. You know, when you think of rice and peas, sorry, when you think of rice and beans, you don't really think much of it. But these guys in Jamaica, they know what they're doing. Okay, we are officially done with the rice and peas. I'm going to put the lid on and let that sit up there. Introducing the, let's crank up that heat a little bit. Introducing the cast iron here. So we're going to do a shallow fry here. Should be enough. So now we just wait for this to come up to temperature. And then we will fry these guys, right? I think while this comes up to temperature, it's a great time to get caught up with the chat here. So what does actually, you know what? I can look at this on my phone. So you might have noticed I'm actually using two phones here. Um, my so there's one phone I have for sort of work purposes, right? But then I also have my personal phone. I prefer to use my personal phone for actually like checking the chat and everything. So we last left off with MD Chas asking about the fuel. The fuel is charcoal, right? Um, so let me do a quick peek at that. Here's how the chicken is coming along. We have the hot coals at the bottom. Again, this is lump charcoal. I did add in a bit of hickory wood as well as apple wood. If you have it, there's something called something called well, anyway. So again, I can't quite say it sometimes, but there is a more authentic version of the wood that you could use if you really wanted to go all out, right? Um, but I recognize that not everybody may not have the means or the resources or the availability to get it truly, truly authentic. Again, I didn't have like the red Scotch bonnets, right? So that's kind of where I fell flat. Um, but anyway, yeah. So one thing I'll just show real quick. Notice how the sort of these guys, it's like the moisture is starting to come out a little bit. You could pat these dry, if you wanted um, to take out some of that moisture. Um, but you know, again, it's up to you. But again, that's where you can see a bit of it sort of sweating a little bit um, from the salt. So again, guys, cheers! If you're drinking along with me, this is some nice dark rum from Jamaica. Now we left off with the fuel source. We've answered that question. Uh, Very nice. Oh, sorry. Really, really good and historically related pairing with jerk chicken is the Jamaican cocoa bread. Ah, part of the island's colonial heritage. Okay. I've been getting into bread making. Hey, that's that. Hey, John D, man, you're educating me right now. Um, you know what? I am definitely going to look into said cocoa bread. Obviously, it's not something I'll be doing today, um, but that really does intrigue me. Okay. So we want the oil to be around 350. Actually, pretty similar to to what the ambient temperature was for the. Actually, let me do it like this so that you guys can see it too. So we're sitting at about 320. Yeah. So we'll give that just another second and then we'll start plopping these guys in. Ryan Singer, hey man. Hey Ryan. Ryan, like you gotta tell me, what is some authentic Puerto Rican food that I should grill? Or, grill up, I guess. Because I can do a Puerto Rico stream if you want, man. The power of Google and Chat GPT, we can make anything. Ryan, if you didn't see it earlier, here's the chicken. It's looking really nice. Again, some of the skin has fallen off, and that's okay. But we have it rotating on the spit. Um, and what does my app say? My app will tell me roughly how long we have left. So we have about 10 minutes remaining per the app. One thing I do want to do while our oil comes up to temperature is check for the temperature inside here. Oh, you know what? This actually says the dark meat is already about 170. Hold on. Guys, we might take the chicken off first, actually, depending on what this looks like. Okay. Some areas are a bit hotter than others. Let's check the breast. See the breast. Okay. Well, you know what? Honestly, okay. So I think, okay, let's just continue to leave it on for another, 5 to 10 minutes. There are areas that are more ready than others. Um, but yeah. So anyway, let's do this. Let's go ahead. Again, I can see the smoke starting to come off this here. So I'm gonna quiet that down just for a second. And I will put on my glove for this, just because of any potential splattering and whatever. But my goal here is I'm just going to lay down a thin layer that covers the bottom of the pan. So those are two stuck together. So for these, we're really just looking for color. Once we're happy with the color, then we yank them. So like this one here. Yeah, so that one's already looking pretty decent. And what I'll do, I will use this plate here to, put them on when we're done. So I think that guy is already pretty done. That guy's pretty much done. See, it's just like that nice sort of golden brown color. Actually, I'm gonna put that guy back in. So he was good looking on one side. I want it to be just nice and golden brown all the way around. Okay, this guy's a good example. Look, nice and brown on all sides. He's our first one done officially. This guy can be done too. Yeah, and make sure that none of these are stacked on top of each other because you're kind of not letting the one at the bottom get fried up necessarily. All right, that's another good one. That one's really close. This guy's good. Pretty good. Maybe just a little bit longer on him. But again, so like the end goal here is these are going to kind of be like chips a little bit. They will have a nice sort of crunchy exterior, but there we go. That's a good looking one right there. Um, so these will have a crunchy exterior, but the sort of the plantain part, sort of the interior, will be kind of nice and soft. And some of these I cannot. Yeah, some of these guys spend too much time on one side. That's all right. Not every plantain is going to be perfect. All right. Let's turn that guy off. Now, in prep now. Okay, so here's what we have as we're done here. Nice fried plantains. This chicken is probably getting to a point where it is nearly done here. So I'm going to check my temperature probe one more time. We have a couple more comments here. Um, very nice. That must smell delicious. Oh yeah, the cocoa bread. Haven't made it, but plenty of times enjoyed it at others' houses. Yeah, perfect, man. Vimal says we have a similar plantain dessert, riper plantain dipped in batter and fried. Yeah, that does sound good, man. Really good, actually. Um, so we're good on that piece. Let me check my app real quick and see. So we're sitting at about 153 internal. I'm going to do a spot check with my Um, guys, if you don't have this, it's called a thermopin. If you're not using this, you're not cooking correctly. All right. This is this is really sort of the best instant read probe on the market, in my opinion. Um, Not sponsored, but hey, thermopin, reach out. Okay, let's check this. Under 69 there. So these are the drumettes, right? 177. Okay, good, good. So that's pretty much right where we want to be for the dark meat. Let's check the breast. Breast is still a little bit soft. Okay, 141, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open up this a little bit here, and we're gonna close this up a little bit, and we'll open this vent up a little bit. But ultimately, we want really once the breast hits about 160, that is when we will uh, basically be in a good position to pull it off. Because honestly, like the dark meat is very forgiving. You don't necessarily have to. Sorry for all the camera movement. For like the dark meat, like you don't necessarily have to stay. I mean, like dark meat has a good range to it. It's basically you can actually let me turn this back on. There's actually a few more plantains I wanted to make here. And I'll just kind of do that off stream here. I'm just gonna toss those guys in. But again, the thing about dark meat is really now from like 175 up to like even like 190, like you're still good. Um, I mean, it's still going to be nice and tender. It's still going to be nice and juicy. Um, and you really don't have to worry about it like overcooking. Um, so dark meat is very forgiving. You know what? Actually, maybe you guys do want to look at this. I guess it's better than my face. Um, yeah. All right. That's something to look at. Um, but yeah, again, the the dark meat is very forgiving in the sense that you can overcook it and like it's fine. So when the breast or sort of the white meat hits 160, we will pull it off. And you might be asking, Logan, it's supposed to be 165. Well, I mean, it's like the thing is there's going to be some carryover heat as well. So that'll bring it up to 165. But even if it's between 160 and 165, we're still safe. I think these sort of just like the FDA, recommendations, they typically overshoot it, like just to be safe. Um, so again, 160 to 165 for white meat is fine, perfectly fine. You know what? I didn't even try one of these. Let's try it. Mm, that's good. I need a little bit more salt on those, but they're good otherwise. Yeah, let me get some salt. Um, and these guys will fry up in just a little bit here. So now let's try one with salt. Instantly better. Very good stuff. So I think all these are flipped. None of them are stacked on top of each other. So we'll let that finish up. And again, cheers, guys. Ryan Singer upvoted. Thank you, Ryan. Guys, if you haven't upvoted, well, you know what? No, I'm not going to force you guys to upvote. If you think the content is shit, then don't upvote. But if you have a reason to upvote, if you feel that you learned something or you enjoyed the content today, feel free to upvote. Again, I'm not forcing you, but it's always appreciated. That one could use a little bit more time. That one's just about there. That one's really good. So let's crank the heat back up just for a second on this. Okie doke, guys. We are just about there. Let me do a spot check one more time. On, you know what? Let me take a picture of the chicken too. Got our pictures in. Let's check the temperature. Let me get my glove on. You know what? And these guys are probably good too. Yep. Okay. Excuse me. So I'm going to take this over here and just put it in a cool place. I don't like to leave oil sitting on a hot surface. And what I'm going to do, let's put the rice and peas back on, but I'll put it on a low temperature just to get that warmed up again. Cheers. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a clean tray to put the chicken on. So let me go back inside. I'm going to retire this one that we use for the raw chicken, and sorry, and get a new one. I'll be right back. There's something to look at. So I have the clean tray now. And I'm going to clear all the space to put said clean chicken on. And it's also a good time to clean up too. Let me check the breast one more time. 155. Yeah, so we still got a little bit of time. Also, if I wanted to be like really anal about this, you would let the chicken rest for maybe 15 to 20 minutes before you like dive into it. I think what I'll do is I will do a taste test. I'll rip off like a leg or something, and and we'll do a quick little taste test and then wrap things up from there. Um, but then I'll have a little bit more later. Yep. So while this finishes up, guys, I'm just gonna take a few things back inside. Let's close this up real quick. That could use a bit more heat. And I'll see you guys in a moment. So let's make sure this rice is not sticking. Oop. We'll pick out any remaining timepieces here. Timepieces. Huh. I made a watch toe. Okay, dope, guys. Let's do one more check on the breast. Really, again, the breast is really the main thing that matters. We just need to hit 160, and then we're good. If like the thighs and like the dark meat is 170, 180, that's fine. So we're just a few degrees away. So I'll flip it back to me, guys. All right. So we're just about wrapped up here, guys. Again, if you've liked the show, if if you like the channel, give me a sub, give me a like. Um, Again, I'm not forcing you to. I'm just politely making a suggestion that you do. Because if you enjoy um, content like this, if you, I mean, again, this stuff is a little bit sort of long-winded, right? Because we're cooking in real time, guys. We're this is not the TV shows where I pull out a freshly made jerk chicken 5 minutes later or whatever, right? Um, I again, I like this format because you guys are free to ask questions like in real time. Um, and I like to teach people. I mean, honestly, sometimes I kind of wish that like I was a teacher, but I didn't go down that path. Um, but anyway, so that's wrapping up in there. We're again once we hit 160, we're like we're golden. We're gonna pull it off, and I'll just rip off a piece of so like a leg or whatever, or like a wing or something, and then we'll call that done. Um, but something else I have been thinking about lately, guys, is uh, I have considered changing the format slightly. Like maybe we do more of the short form stuff. Like I can definitely consolidate this down into like a 6 or 7 minute video. And Yogan, I have done that before. I've literally just taken my live streams. I've put it into a video editing program, and I've just edited it down just to the really important parts, or sort of the highlights, or whatever. Um, but the way that I'm thinking of going forward, again, I might try this like on one lunch or a meal or whatever. But um, what I might end up doing is I might just like make it more professional looking, where like it's not actually a stream that I'm condensing down necessarily. It's literally just me shooting you know in 4K, or sort of high quality stuff. Um, you know like what you would see like on any other sort of YouTube channel, like an actual production video, versus just a just like a stream like this. I like the streams because they are nice and easy. I just set up a camera. And I do my thing, right. Um, but I think there's definitely like a time and place for that. And I use Instagram Live for more of the yeah, that's still looking good. I still use that for uh you know for for basically when it's a shore cook. I mean, if I have something on like the gas grill over there where it literally takes 10 minutes to cook something, you know, like a steak or like a burger or something. I like to use Facebook, not Facebook. Man, grandparents are stuck on Facebook. I again, I'll use Instagram Live for that. But let me check my meter app in here. So this one claims it's 168 internal, but again, it really just depends on where I placed that probe. So let's go back. So again, dark meat, we're definitely there. That's fine. The breast, 150. See, well, that one's closer. But again, I do think we need to wait just a little bit longer here. But there's the beans and rice. Again, this is just something that I do at my own pace. I mean, if this were like a TV show, whoop, I didn't mean to do that. Gee, come on, front camera. I mean, if this were a TV show, it would all be, you know, here's 30 seconds on this, here's a minute for this or whatever, right? Um, so, clearly this is not that, but you know, this format allows me to talk to you guys. So, um, and I like the interaction. So, but anyway, again, I'll just kind of, you know, John D. Going back to like the cocoa bread again. I don't know if you're still here, man, but you know, send me like a recipe or something, man, because I might. So, like, is it called cocoa bread for like a coconut bread, or is it like cocoa like chocolate? I mean, I think that would be kind of interesting to try definitely. Baking is something that like I don't I do it from time to time. Like mostly it's like maybe a bread here and there or cookies or something, right? Um, but I'm not one to like really bake all that much. But if you guys don't have a stand mixer, you should definitely get one. Like sure. I said that like I don't bake all that much, right? But a stand mixer, it's like a $400 investment. Um, and it's not just a mixer. It's honestly it is uh so many different tools in one. There's so many attachments. You can make fucking ice cream in it. You can um there's spiral attachments and cheese grating at that like all the stuff. Um, so even if you're not into really big into baking, I think everybody should have a kitchen like a KitchenAid stand mixer for sure. Um, we're getting close to the holidays, right? So think about your loved ones that cook, right? Or if you cook, maybe you just buy one yourself, right? Right, right. And I think go on sale, I mean, around Black Friday and whatever. Again, I'm telling you right now, they're 300 $400. If you see one on sale for Black Friday and it says, "Oh, it's only 400. It was marked down from 600." Lies, man. That's a fucking lie. Um, you really have to be like careful with like this Black Friday stuff. It's they will claim like, "Oh, it used to be X, but it's now Y." Well, Y was the price the whole time, right? So just be careful, guys. Be careful. Cheers to good food and not getting scammed on Black Friday. Yeah, man, the Titans. Oof, Titans are not doing well, guys. We recently fired our coach. Actually, Brian Callahan is no more. I think we have an like a temporary coach right now. I don't even know his name. Um, but yeah, we are. Steve Sarkeesian of or Sarkeesian again. Yeah, I'm not good with names. Um, but he's the Longhorns coach, the Texas coach. He's actually in the running, which I thought was interesting. Um, it's been a few minutes. I'm going to check on the internal again for. Let's check the breast. It's in a perfect location right now. 168. Hey, that honestly might be it. See, okay, that one still says 149. See, there's so many parts of the chicken, right? You got the legs, you got the breast, you got yeah, see, okay, 152, 151. Now I might just make a decision here. We just go ahead and rip something off that's actually done, and then just go ahead and put it back on for like to finish out later. And honestly, I think I will do that because I don't want to keep you guys waiting here. Um, so what I'll do is I will set you guys up right here. This will be the chicken station, and we're gonna pull off a chunk. Just fucking rip it off. And we'll have a bite. We'll get a picture and we'll call it good, guys. There is our beautiful chicken. Oh, that's kind of far away. Sorry. So I'm literally just going to pull off a piece here. There's the probe. And I kind of want this leg here. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to try this. You know, let's just make a little plate right here, just real quick. Let me get a fork. Okay, guys, here's the moment of truth. Let's scoop this bird over just a little bit. There we go. So here's our Jamaican jerk chicken. Again, I'm just taking just like a little piece off here, but let's try it. Mmm, that is a lot of flavor. Mmm, that's really good. Let's try uh the rice and peas. Equally as delicious. And let's try one more of our plantains. All of that is amazing, guys. Really good stuff. So, guys, thank you for your time today. Thank you for sticking with me. Again, I think I did let up on the heat a little too early. Um, and going forward, I might, uh, you know, anytime I do jerk chicken again or any kind of chicken, I might not be as scared of the sort of the flames, whipping up and everything. I've had some bad bird experiences, right? I've had birds go up in flames. I've had birds turn from white to black. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but again, I've just had some bad bird mojo. All right. So anyway, guys, thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, consider giving it a like. Consider subscribing. Um, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.